I'm Ryan Milton from Team FFLEX. Today, we're going to be looking at NPC Wellness. We're looking at NPC USA's, which is a pro qualifying event. We're going to look at Class A. This class contains the overall wellness winner from this event, pro card winner, as well as the other athletes in this top 5. We're going to review, we're going to go over criteria, why these placings landed the way they did, and ultimately what this means for you if you want to be doing your best on any wellness stage out there in the NPC. This is also giving you a sneak peek into what is actually winning an IFBB Wellness Pro card right now. All right, so let's dive in. Let's take a look. And by the way, if you like reviews and you like content that's going to help you be a better competitor, hit subscribe, hang out. I got a lot more coming, I promise you that, okay? So again, Class A, and this is Brandi here. She's the pro card winner in this group as well as the overall winner from this event. So if you're unfamiliar, that means out of all the other pro winners, all the other first winners at this event, in other words, she won over everybody else. So she's probably the most accurate depiction of where the wellness criteria should be. So let's take a look at what's going on here with her physique. So again, we're always working with the shots that we can get off of NPC News. Sometimes they don't land exactly in pose, so just keep that in mind. Wellness, as we know, is all about this lower body dominance. You need to have a lot of glute structure, quad structure, hamstring structure, fullness, and you need to meet condition, okay? When this division came out, it was, basically everything from the waist up was the way it was in bikini, and we do tend to still see that a bit, right? So you still have good shoulder fullness, shoulder size, bicep and tricep that don't overpower, good taper in at the waist, everything there. Lower body should be clearly dominant. It's the only asymmetrical women's division. It's specifically made for women that want more glutes, want more quads, and want more hamstrings, right? So Brandi here, she's got overall a very streamlined look. We can see some of that shoulder fullness up top, good taper in at the waist here. Upper glute is fully developed. You'll notice that. Something judges will look at and will, see what you're doing there at Nationals for sure every single time. Overall glute development there and good quad sweep here. We can see, we'll get to the hamstrings and everything when we get to the back. As I always say, these divisions generally, they're going to be one from the back. Conditioning wise, right? She's on a slight bit leaner of a look than we typically see in wellness, but it doesn't hurt her, right? You can be there. She's got good separation here in the quads, the glutes. Oblique is showing through just a little bit there. We do start to see a little bit of ribs here. You start to get that when you get maybe just a tad, little bit too lean. Either way, though, she pulls it together. Clearly, she has a very good structure, good wellness look here. And not only does she win this class, win her pro card, she wins the overall. And I think we'll see a lot more of that story when we get to the back there. So let's take a look now at Megan. So she's over here taking second in this group. And what we can see on her, good overall shoulder shape and structure, bicep and tricep here, not overpowering, but I will note maybe just a little bit more developed, right, than we've seen on Brandi in this group here. And she's got a good taper in at the waist, good glute shape from the back right here, meaning you can see, that upper glute and glutes from the front. In other words, that shelf effect is really something wellness competitors want to have. Good overall shape and size and symmetry in the quads and in the legs. Conditioning seems to be just about right. So keep in mind, these first and these second places at these events, I mean, they're very close. Sometimes it's the smallest thing that's separating that difference from a pro card or not at that group, for that's a very close call there, very close grouping. She could easily have won that class there. She did still, in fact, actually win her pro card. So another great example of where we will see these athletes coming through together, right? So next, we're going to look at Amanda here. So Amanda, she's another one of these athletes that, you definitely can see overall good structure, good shape, a lot of glute from the front. Wellness competitors, you're watching my video today, please take note. Glute from the front, you really want to have that. You got to have that. All of them are having it. As we start to move down in this call out, though, you start to see a little bit more where the criteria is really exemplified. For her, I start to get a little bit more of a shoulder, upper body, bicep, tricep forward look. She's still got a great taper, good structure, good wellness physique, but it does look a little bit more symmetrical than the two in the class right here, right? So that, you start to see that a little bit more symmetry, a little bit more proportion. That can easily start to look a little bit more like bikini very fast, like bikini with maybe disproportionately sized glutes, things like that. She's got great overall structure and shape though, definitely a wellness look, but a little bit more symmetrical than the others in the class. And that's probably why she's pulling into that third there at that point. Let's take a look at the back, though, because as I always say, the full story isn't told till we get there. And here we get to the back, and instantly you recognize every single one of these athletes are looking like a wellness athlete, right? Let's talk about these differences, though, and why. So Brandi, Pro Card winner, overall winner, very minimal shoulder fullness from the back. That's about what you want to see in wellness. It shouldn't be a distraction point. Everything you want to see in wellness is going to happen down here. So glutes, she's got that upper glute fullness, that roundness, that development. You can really see that there. Overall glute development pulls into a tie-in, slight separation there. We can see that. And generally from the back in wellness, you do want to see these quads sweeping in the back. That indicates, that fullness, that size is there, and they will show from the back when they're correct. Same with the hamstrings. So just a little bit of that, but really a very dominant lower body look. You can see that looking at her, and, she has very good condition to where all these lines pull through just right, but it's not overdone. So she looked maybe a tad leaner in the front. Sometimes you see that from the back. Perfect condition here, perfect symmetry as far as it should go in these lower body muscles, and clearly, lower body dominant. So that's a complete wellness look. No doubt wins that pro card, goes on to win that overall. Megan over here, she also wins her pro card. And, it's easy to see why. Very clearly close placings between these two. And you can see this is definitely a wellness look, right? Like first place your eyes are going to go, and judges' eyes are going to go. Audience eyes, that's the whole point of this division, is to the lower body. And we can see very full quads here, separation of that glute hamstring tie-in, overall glute fullness in that upper glute. Glutes are developed, hamstrings match. Everything is all there. So that's a very complete symmetrical, look. She's a little bit more quad heavy. Doesn't hurt her physique, though. Looks clearly wellness, looks clearly dominant. If you want a lower body that looks like this, you want to be a wellness competitor, right? And this is what's winning in the pro NPC, the top of the NPC going in the IFBB Pro right now. Upper body-wise, very minimal here. This is exactly what you want to see. Clearly dominant lower body effect. And that's, again, another pro card winner in this group here. Amanda. Okay, so Amanda, again, very still much a lower body dominant look. Got a lot of quads there, less quad fullness, less quads from the back than the other two in this class above her. Good symmetry at the hamstrings, good tie-in, upper glute, her glute fullness and everything is there. The biggest thing to me, again, is this upper body, right? So very developed in the shoulders. You can really see a lot of shape and fullness there. You can even start to see that coming in to traps just a bit, which oftentimes you won't see because it's hidden by hair. But if judges do see this, they start to go, oh, that's a lot of upper body development, right? In wellness, you don't want that. You want to look as asymmetrical as possible. She still does because she has a lot of lower body development. But realistically, it does look just a tad bit more symmetrical because she does have more upper body, and she has more than the first place winner and the second place winner. So again, these are the things. I've said it for wellness forever. If you have a lot of muscle in that upper body, that is something you got to correct. You either got to really upsize the lower body, or you got to, downsize that upper body. All right, everybody watching. So check out my free coaching trial. If you're trying to get your best physique and wellness, you're trying to, figure out what you want to do with your training, your nutrition, anything else, this is the place to go. You can train me free for 7 days. TeamFFLEX.com/7-day trial. You just put your email in. It takes you 30 seconds. You're going to get an invite right into my coaching platform. You get to work with me free for 7 days, one-on-one. I'll show you the ropes. I'll teach you everything you want to do. I can assess your photos just like I am here for you, talk to you about it, tell you your strong points, tell you the areas you need to improve, tell you what to do with your training and nutrition, answer your questions, whatever. If you like these videos and you get anything out of them, you'll get 100 times more out of this trial. So go over there, check that out. You do not want to miss out on that, okay? Now let's move down into our next athletes in this group. So 4th and 5th, generally in any class, you start to get a better idea of, where things are moving as far as placings, right? The top 1, 2, 3 can be pretty tight. This class, a little bit, different there, where the third place looked clearly a little bit more upper body dominant. Let's see what the rest of the class looks like here. So we have Grace. So Grace has definitely overall a good aesthetic, definitely good glute shape from the front here. Fullness is there. Quads sweep in there. Good taper in at the waist. Very narrow waist effect. But a lot of upper body, as we can see, a lot of delts, biceps, triceps. I mean, it's a very muscled look. You know, she has a lot of upper body fullness there. That would be my guess as to, you know, this is almost, just looking at it, you start to see a lot of that shoulder shape, right? And that's not a bad thing for a lot of athletes, but it can be overpowering in wellness. And it definitely is a little bit here. You know, you start to get a lot more of that upper body look, less paying attention to what's going on down here as much. So she looks very symmetrical, maybe even a little bit upper body forward, more dominant up top than she does lower. That's definitely, you know, probably a factor here. Joanna over here, 5th place. Okay, let's take a look. What do we got here? So good quad structure and shape, good overall glute shape. Everything's there. Definitely a wellness-esque physique. Her shoulders are not over dominant. They're not underdone. She's just a very symmetrical looking athlete here, right? So the lower body probably needs some more muscle, more quad dominance, more glute shape and structure, more fullness there to really overpower what's going on up top. Still has a good taper, everything else, but you know, those are the markers that make a classic wellness look, is having your lower body just be so developed, so dominant. And that's one of those things that you do not want to miss out on, you know, going to any stage. Keep in mind, this is a pro qualifying event. This is relevant for any event that you would ever do, like, no matter what. If it's your local regional NPC show in your town, this is stuff judges are looking at. All right, let's take a look from the back now. Full story is always told. We already went over Brandi, so let's look at Grace from the back. So Grace looked very upper body forward in you know, that front. From the back, less. That's all right. This is honestly doesn't look too bad, and it's probably, you know, honestly posing tweaks, because her delts did look really big from the front, but still from here, this is a very symmetrical look. We still have good quad shape and size. You know, we still have good glute shape overall, tie in everything there. It's just not the same amount of development coming out of the lower body. So super symmetrical, more balanced of a look, you know. Needs to probably bring down the upper body a bit, also upsize the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, just add muscle there. And this is a lot of what you see in these divisions, by the way, especially at the top level when you're competing for pro cards at the USA, at any of these events. You are looking for, you know, probably most of the time your feedback's going to be, hey, you got to add a little bit more muscle, because, again, you're at the top of the NPC at this point. All right, so over here, good overall shoulder shape, you know, tapers in pretty well. Again, very symmetrical. So she's got good quad sweeps on the outside, good hamstring development, tie-in solid, overall glute structure. Just, again, too symmetrical. Not as much of a lower body dominant look, you know, needs a little bit more of that fullness in that lower body, probably even a tad softer of a look. It looks a little bit hard here as it goes. But overall, you know, it's that muscle, it's that shape, it's that size. The more dramatic muscle shape development that you can bring in wellness, the better. And the more clearly lower body dominant it looks, the better. Okay, so that's this class here. That's probably why it broke down the way it did. If you need help with whatever you're doing, hit the free trial. And as always, hit me with your comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think somebody else in this group should have won? Do you like the direction of where wellness is heading right now? This look. Are you competing in wellness? Are you leaving wellness? What are you doing? Drop it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Coach Ryan is out.